The Gerudo, a race of proud and independent desert-dwelling thieves who made their first appearance in Ocarina of Time. Only bearing a male every 100 years, the Gerudo tribe is almost entirely made up of women. These desert-dwelling people live out their days in the Gerudo Valley, struggling each day to keep their lineage and culture alive. This is merely the beginning of the story of the Gerudo tribe in the Zelda series. Join Grandstar, Game Over Jesse, McIntyre Productions, and myself as we lift the veil on the Gerudo timeline.
With the origins of the Gerudo being quite controversial in the community, we'll be sticking to what we can find out from the timeline and in-game text. The Gerudo's first appearance is in Ocarina of Time, though we don't see their entire tribe until later in the game. Their king, Ganondorf, doesn't give us a promising first impression. Ganondorf plagued the three regions that held the spiritual stones, betrayed the trust of the Hyrule royal family, and abused his power as king, paving the way for the already present but ever-growing contempt for the Gerudo tribe. After Link's first meeting with Ganondorf in Hyrule Castle, his only interaction with any Gerudo other than Nibiru as a child is in front of the gate leading to the Gerudo fortress, which Link can't enter at the time. Early on, it seems that the Gerudo people were isolationists, only allowing those they deemed worthy to traverse the sands they call home. 7 years later, after obtaining the Master Sword, Link finds himself in Hyrule ruled by Ganondorf, the King of Thieves. After corrupting Hyrule into his own twisted version of its former self, Ganondorf seemingly does nothing for his people still residing in the sands. When heading over to the Gerudo Valley, we can see that the once guarded bridge has been destroyed and abandoned, showing that the tribe grew even more reclusive as time went on, possibly even becoming ashamed of Ganondorf and his actions.
Only one Gerudo that we know of in the tribe questions the authority of Ganondorf, and that's Nibiru, the second in command. After Link clears out the Gerudo fortress and proves himself to the tribe, he's able to travel across the haunted wasteland to the Spirit Temple. In order for him to enter the temple, Link must use the Requiem of Spirits as a child and obtain the Silver Gauntlets to gain access as an adult. Once in the past, Link meets Nibiru inside the Spirit Temple. She tells Link, "Though we're both thieves, I'm completely different from Ganondorf. With his followers, he's stolen from women and children and even killed people. A kid like you may not know this, but the Gerudo race consists only of women. Only one man is born every 100 years. Even though our laws say that a lone Gerudo male must become king of the Gerudo, I'll never bow to such an evil man." This quote shows that at least one person in the tribe didn't agree with what Ganondorf had done. It's highly likely even more of the tribe sided with Nibiru over Ganondorf, as he committed atrocities even thieves wouldn't approve of. Why else would Ganondorf need to go to the extent of brainwashing people with the help of Twin Rova? Even Nibiru, a strong-hearted leader of the Gerudo, perished to the dark magic of the two witches, and was brainwashed to do Ganondorf's evil bidding. This can be seen after acquiring the Silver Gauntlets as a child. Twin Rova appears out of nowhere and takes Nibiru into the Spirit Temple. 7 years later, when Link returns to Gerudo Valley, a carpenter tells him a little bit about Nibiru. When Nibiru was a lone wolf thief, she never stole from the weak. But now, Nibiru's gang of thieves stands for cruelty and brutality. She claims to be a chivalrous robber, but no way. We can find even more out after Link lifts the curse on Nibiru in the Spirit Temple. "I was brainwashed by those old witches and used by Ganondorf to do his evil will. But isn't it funny that a person like me could turn out to be the Sage of Spirit? And now I'm gonna fight them as one of the 6 sages. I'm going to pay them back for what they did to me." Though the Gerudo people followed Ganondorf at one time, sometime during the 7 years Link was sealed away, the Gerudo people realized that he was not fit to lead their tribe, causing Ganondorf to take action and brainwash his people, punishing them for questioning his reign by leaving them in the desert to suffer under the rule of a brainwashed Nibiru. The fate and reputation of the Gerudo is pretty grim in Ocarina of Time, and only gets worse as time passes on. Let's move on to the downfall timeline and see what exactly happened to the tribe after Link's defeat by the hands of Ganondorf.
Soon after Link was defeated by Ganondorf, the 7 stages stepped in and sealed the Demon King away in the Sacred Realm. Peace was returned to Hyrule for a short time, but what became of the Gerudo tribe? The next game in the timeline, A Link to the Past, holds no evidence of the tribe's existence, leaving us to wonder exactly where the entire Gerudo race went. It's possible that since most of the tribe still held Ganondorf in such high regard, they followed the Demon King into the Sacred Realm after its seal began to weaken. During the Imprisoning War, the only Gerudo thus far that had disagreed with Ganondorf was Nibiru. With the tribe seemingly being brainwashed, it's likely they still followed their leader, becoming the mini monsters found in the Sacred Realm and the group of outcasts found in the Dark World's version of Kakariko Village. More evidence of the Gerudo tribe following their leader at all costs can be found further down the Downfall timeline in Oracle of Ages and Seasons. The two main antagonists, Veron and Onox, have the Gerudo symbol on their armor, showing that they too are members of the Gerudo tribe. After defeating both Veron and Onox, it's unveiled that they were actually working for Twinrova, in efforts to resurrect the Demon King Ganon. The fact that Twinrova was involved shows that the two witches possibly still had members of the Gerudo tribe under control of the dark magic, similar to Nibiru supporting the notion that the tribe still may have been brainwashed into helping Ganondorf in the Downfall timeline, leaving Hyrule behind to bow down to their god in the Dark World. Soon after A Link to the Past, Hyrule goes through many changes, becoming a shadow of its former self at the end of the timeline. This left no room for most of the other races in Hyrule to prosper, leaving races like the Gerudo to become nothing but a footnote in the history of Hyrule.
Moving on to the trial timeline, after Link was sent back as a child, he warns the royal family of Ganondorf to stop his plans of sacking the Sacred Realm. Unknowingly, Link started a war between the Gerudo and the Hylians. The King of Hyrule prepared for the coming assault from Ganondorf and his band of thieves, and was able to fend off the attack on the Sacred Realm. Many years later, Ganondorf was captured and sent to be executed in Arbiter's grounds, but was ultimately sealed in the Twilight Realm. The only known Gerudo during the events of Twilight Princess is Ganondorf himself, so an interesting question remains: where did the rest of his tribe go? Based off the information found in Twilight Princess and Hyrule Historia, we can assume that the Gerudo tribe was pushed out of Hyrule before the events of Twilight Princess, during a war between the Hylians and the Gerudo. Though this war is not mentioned in Hyrule Historia, two different things leads us to this conclusion. One is what the Light Sage says while telling Link and Midna the tale regarding Ganondorf. He was the leader of a band of thieves who invaded Hyrule in the hopes of establishing dominion over the Sacred Realm. The quote from the Light Sage shows that the Gerudo tribe, at the very least, launched an attack on Hyrule's castle, and to be honest, that's a good reason for the Hylians to fight back. The next clue that can be found in Hyrule Historia is on page 119. Several hundred years after Ganondorf's defeat, relations between the Gerudo village and Hyrule had become friendly once more, and peace had been restored to the land. This text shows that the Gerudo and Hylians had been at odds for several hundred years, with the Gerudo only recently regaining the trust of the Hylians. Once the Gerudo managed to regain the trust of the Hylians, another Gerudo male was born and named Ganondorf, and unfortunately he stained the reputation of the Gerudo tribe once more. Unlike in Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf had no way of swaying his people to abandon their ways and was ultimately disowned by the Gerudo tribe, keeping them in the good graces of the Hylians. So far, it looks like as though the Gerudo survived this side of the timeline and may even prosper in later installments. But for now, we'll just have to wait and see.
We've come to our last stop, the adult timeline. This is where Link saves the people of Hyrule but returns to his own time, leaving this timeline without a hero to save Hyrule from the return of Ganondorf. These events lead to the land of Hyrule being sealed under the ocean by the gods, spreading its inhabitants across the vast waters of Hyrule. During the events of Wind Waker after the flood, we see the traces of every other race found in Hyrule, except that of the Gerudo tribe. So what happened to the Gerudo after the flood? Did they manage to survive, or did they perish? During Wind Waker, after Link leaves Outset Island, Tetra and her band of pirates take Link to the Forsaken Fortress where he eventually finds Ganondorf, the only remaining Gerudo found in this side of the timeline thus far. Ganondorf spares Link's life and allows him to continue on with his journey. Near the end of the game, Ganondorf vaguely explains the hardships of his people before the events of Ocarina of Time. My country lay within a vast desert. When the sun rose into the sky, a burning wind punished my lands, searing the world. And when the moon climbed into the dark of night, a frigid gale pierced our homes. No matter when it came, the wind carried the same thing, death. But the winds that blew across the green fields of Hyrule brought something other than suffering and ruin. I coveted that wind, I suppose. With Ganondorf being the only Gerudo around accompanied by this quote, it's possible that the Gerudo died off in this branch of the timeline, though the Gerudo had regained the trust of the Hylians as shown in the ending of Ocarina of Time. It's not likely that they took any help from the outside. When the flood came, the Gerudo simply had no place high enough to go, leaving them trapped within the depths of the ocean. The ones that did possibly survive could have been melded into the sparse population over the years, striving to survive after the flood. An interesting quote from Tetra can be found in the Wind Waker when first approaching the Forsaken Fortress. There are all sorts of strange rumors about this place. What I do know is that long ago, it used to be the hideout of a no-good group of pirates we used to compete with, but they were just small time. Now, this place looks like it's pretty dangerous. Could this be the proof that the Gerudo tribe possibly lived on as pirates after the Great Flood, taking the Forsaken Fortress on their own? With very little facts to back it up, we can't fully confirm or deny the Gerudo tribe living on in the adult timeline.
From what it seems, the Gerudo have struggled to survive from the beginning. Starting out as thieves, being brainwashed, cursed by the reincarnation of Ganondorf, and ultimately washed away beneath the ocean. So what do you guys think? What was the overall fate of the Gerudo tribe in the Zelda series? Let us know in the comments section below. Special thanks goes to McIntyre Productions, Game Over Jesse, and Grandstar for joining me on this theory. If you guys want to see more Zelda related content, news, theories, discussions, and more, go ahead and go on over and subscribe to each one of them. That's the end of this week's video. I'm RMFH. You guys all have a good one. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.